This video will be reviewing Unit 8, Lesson 7, where we went over the volume of a cone using the formula volume equals pi times radius squared times height, all of that divided by 3. If you notice, this formula is very similar to the formula for calculating volume of a cylinder. If you go like this, that's our volume for cylinder, and you're just dividing it all by 3. So in this video, we will be reviewing how to find the volume, how to calculate for the volume of a cone, and then we will also be reviewing calculating volume but leaving your answer in terms of pi. And also we will be reviewing calculating your answer if you are given the diameter instead of the radius. So I will split my page into 3s because we're doing 3 different problems, and we will get right into it. Let's say you are given a cone with a radius of 3 inches and a height of 5 inches. First thing you do, write out your formula. Volume equals pi times radius squared times height divided by 3. Next, you plug in whatever you know. So pi times r squared, which is 3 squared, times my height, which is 5, all of that divided by 3. Now, if you look at this and you are overwhelmed by all the numbers you see, just go to PEMDAS. PEMDAS always tells you what to do next. I don't have any parentheses, but I do have an exponent. So that's what I'm going to take care of next. I'm going to rewrite pi times 3 times itself. 3 times 3 is 9 times 5, all of that divided by 3. Now, I like to break it down in steps, so I want to take care of this multiplication first so I know what I'm dividing 3 into. So you can put into your calculator pi, press the button pi times 9 times 5. Right now, I don't have the graphing calculator on me. I'm using my phone calculator, so I'm using 3.14 as pi. Some directions will tell you use 3.14 instead of the pi button. If it doesn't tell you that, just press the pi button. It's easier. But for me, I can't do that, so I'm multiplying by 3.14. I'll put it right here. And that gives me 141.37 divided by 3. And then I put that into my calculator, and I get 47.12 inches to the third because it's volume. Volume is always to the third power. Now, just a quick example, if you want to round to nearest tenths place, remember 1 place after our decimal is our tenths place. You look next door, 5 or above, give it a shove. 4 or below, let it go. This 2 is 4 or below, so I'm just going to leave it alone, let it go. So my rounded answer would just be 47.1 inches to the third. Just a quick little rounding review for you there. Next, we're going to practice a problem where we leave in terms of pi. So I'll say you are given a cone. I'll draw my cone upside down. 5 inches is my radius. 9 inches is my height. First thing we do is write down our formula. Volume equals pi times, be careful, don't copy wrong. I'm looking over and I'm writing down the wrong thing. I just want my formula. radius squared times height. And this is why I always tell you guys, it's so important to write your formula down and make sure you're looking at your numbers carefully. Because when you see so many numbers in front of you, like this, you could get really confused, as I just did. So make sure you're paying attention. We're solving for our volume, so I'm just going to rewrite it. Pi times radius squared. My radius is 5 squared because my formula told me to, times the height, which is 9. All of that divided by 3 because that's what my formula says. Same thing as our first problem. We go to PEMDAS. The next thing we do is take care of our exponents. So we got to take care of this 5 squared. So we rewrite pi times 5 squared, which is 5 times 5 is 25, times 9, all of that divided by 3. Now remember, it says leave in terms of pi. So I'm going to leave pi alone. Leave in terms of pi, leave pi alone. So the next thing I could multiply or combine together is this 25 times 9. That's what I'm going to do. Also, you could think multiplication before division. So I'm going to do V equals pi times 25 times 9. 25 times 9 is 225. And all of that is divided by 3 because my formula tells me to. So now the last thing we have to do, remember we're ignoring pi, so we're just going to divide 225 by 3. And that gives me 225 divided by 3 is 75. You could write it pi 75 or 75 pi. But don't forget your units. Your units are inches to the third, and they're to the third because you're calculating volume. So whenever you leave in terms of pi, you should see pi in your answer. Leave in terms of pi, leave pi in your answer. Okay? And the last example that we're going to go over is calculating the volume of a cone. If they give you the diameter, they don't give you the radius. Let's say your height. The first thing we have to do is we need to figure out what our radius is. Because if you look at our formula, we need our radius. We don't care about the diameter. We need to know what the radius is. But we do care about the diameter because it's going to help us figure out what the radius is. If you notice, the diameter stretches entirely across the entire circle. The radius is only half of that distance. So whenever you want to figure out half of something, you could divide it by 2. So I like to write a little formula, diameter divided by 2 equals radius. So you could just plug that in. 7 is my diameter, divided by 2. That will give me my radius. So 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So my radius is equal to 3.5 centimeters. Now I can plug in to my formula. So I'm calculating for volume. I still don't know the volume. Pi times radius squared. My radius is 3.5 squared times my height divided, my height is 20. Divided by 3. Again, if you don't know what to do, PEMDAS is your best friend, and PEMDAS tells you we got to do exponents. We rewrite volume equals pi 3.5 times 3.5. That gives me 12.25 times 20. Then you're going to put this, don't forget to divide by 3. Always take your time. Make sure you're copying the formula down correctly each time you simplify a step. Now, next up, you're going to put this top row into your calculator because you have to figure out what you're dividing 3 into. So pi times 12.25 times 20. Again, you would just push the pi button times 12.25 times 20. Right now, I don't have a pi button on my phone, so I'm going to use 3.14. If that ever happens, you could use 3.14. That gives me 769.69 divided by 3. And the last thing I would have to do to calculate my volume is divide 769.69 divided by 3. And that gives me 265.56 centimeters to the third power. Because it's volume, volume is always to the third. And if you were to round to the nearest tenth, you would get 265 point. This is the place we're rounding. We look next door, 5 or above, give it a shove. So 5 shoves up to 6 centimeters to the third. And that's working with our formula for finding the volume of a cone.